very wise friends told me recently that if you can work out an exit plan, it does help reduce the stress. Today's video is all about finding your comfort zone and removing the stigma around creating a final product. What I mean by that is wanting to create something that will be considered as one single piece of artwork, which can sometimes lead to stress. I would lie to you if I'd say that the process of creating always comes easy for me. I make art every day, yes, and I practice every day as well, but we're all affected by what's going on in the world, and if you add a busy schedule and the realities of a personal life, the flow trickles instead of running smoothly. So earlier this week I had to create a video reward for my Patreon supporters, but I had a full agenda with huge decisions to make, and this is what I call situation critical, or the perfect recipe for a creative block. I knew I had to figure things out so that I could paint with joy without feeling the pressure. Then I remembered last September when I started incorporating doodling to my watercolor paintings and the peaceful feeling I got from it. Why was that so relaxing to do? Because rather than putting the pressure on finalizing a whole piece, I focused on the little vignettes that I could embellish. Worst comes to worst, I would have material for the pretties that you're probably familiar with if you've been following me for a while. And these I could use on cards or as collages. So it's that last bit that did it for me, because I had an exit plan. I call these vignettes nuggets of happies. I know it's a very technical term, but they're different from the pretties. The pretties are what I make when I want to recycle a fail painting or swatch. So essentially it's prettying something not so pretty, hence the name. The happies are more intentional. They're built from scratch and are meant to make you happy while you create in a time of stress. There you go. I've worked it all out for you. You're welcome. The theorist in me is coming out in full force. I have a plan and a reason. Before I started creating on the watercolor paper, I made a rough thumbnail in my sketchbook and swatched the colors I wanted to use. That always helps, and you don't need a sketchbook for that. You can easily do that on a scrap piece of paper. Then I divided the watercolor paper into 9 sections just to help me place the blobs of color, as I call them. And the shapes of the happies are quite organic. I settled for circles. They're misshapen intentionally, but it can be anything you want. It doesn't have to even resemble a geometric shape. I made 9 blobs, 3 of each color. Then I started layering. So each circles was touched by either the same color but in a darker shade or a different color. And then slowly I started embellishing with very loose brush strokes, very relaxed. And if I wanted the colors to bleed, I added the paint with the bottom layer when it was wet. And if I wanted to have more bold accents, then I dried the paint with a heat tool and kept on adding. So it all depends on the look that you want. However, I can tell you that if you keep working wet to wet, the colors will eventually start bleeding and blending with each other, and that will sort of create a very confused solid color. So this is something to consider. Contrast is very important to me. I don't think it's a rule, but I use it pretty much all the time to create a bit of drama. And I think it also makes the other colors pop. So for my contrasting color, I'm using Payne's Gray, which is an all-time favorite of mine. And then later on, I'm going to add something else. I will let you guess at what it is. Were you singing the gold song? I swear I heard it from all parts of the world. Oh, everything is just so much better with gold, especially on blue. I think it looks so regal. I'm also adding some touches of white with the Posca paint pen. Posca. Does anyone know how to pronounce this? Is it Posca or Posca? If someone's watching from Uni-ball, can you please chime in with the answer in the comments below? Anybody, anyone who knows, please, and thank you. Now, honestly, at this stage, I debated whether I should add any doodling. I think the piece would have been quite nice without it. And because I didn't have the answer to that, I decided to limit the doodles to very small details. I don't regret it, but I think I probably would have liked the piece without them. But I don't know, I just didn't know how to go about it, so I did the first thing that came to mind. And because again I wanted to remain as stress-free as possible, I went for it. But I went with kind of like a safe approach. But I like it. I really liked the whole piece. This is perfect for anybody from any level of experience, beginners to advanced. If you are looking for a project just to have fun and not worry too much, have an exit plan and tell yourself that if worse comes to worse, you can always reuse it, you can always recycle it, And there's also the next piece of paper. So don't let the stress prevent you from creating, because I think it's really important, especially nowadays. Art does help, and I believe in the power of creating. Here's the piece that I created for my patrons. So if you're interested in watching this video, you'll find it on my Patreon page, and I will have the link below as well. I hope you've enjoyed this video. Don't forget to check out the description for the list of supplies and for the links to my social media. Thank you all so very much for watching. Of course, a very special thank you to my awesome patrons. Please stay safe and healthy, keep creating, and I will see you soon.